Howdy, partner. Thanks for stopping by. Health and happiness to you. I'm Skol, and today we're going to talk about a couple of things. Abalone as a scale material. We're going to talk about the hot brass jack exclusive from C. Risner Cutlery over at traditionalpocketknives.com. And then I'll show you a few fun cowboy theme things. So first up, abalone. Just a few months ago, I got curious, what is abalone? And I just looked it up. And mollusks in the sea, clamshells that make pearls. The material that pearl is made out of, nacre, Nacre. Also, layers of that make the shell grow. They keep getting larger with more and more layers of nacre. So you've heard of mother of pearl. That's nacre. It's just all white with a white color and maybe a shiny white color mixed together. You've seen that. Well, abalone is the same thing, except it had layers of color as it built its shell. And then there's can be specific species like red. I think it's called red abalone, or maybe it's red mollusk, where it's predominantly just a red color. So you can get different types of nacre with natural grown in the ocean and mollusks. So yesterday was actually the first time I ever saw some new abalone in person. And after looking at it, I was actually looking at the new Jack Wolf. It's called the Equal End Gateway Series. Jack Wolf is coming out this week. Actually, I was looking at it yesterday, and it was coming out Friday. So today's Thursday. I'm going to try to upload this video today. So tomorrow, that's actually being released. But after looking at how beautiful this abalone was in person, and the camera doesn't give it justice. If you've ever seen a stock photo, and maybe you've passed by, just like I have always done, because I don't have any abalone in my collection. I never saw it in person before. You might have thought of it in the same category as like these oil slick color knives that rainbow. Maybe you thought that wasn't your thing. And if you're into just modern knives with G10 and black or silver blades, they usually don't put abalone on modern knives, more on traditional knives. So maybe you never bothered to look up what it is. But a few months ago I found out what it is, and then now I just saw it in person for the first time, and it looks a lot better in person. It just changes colors. It kind of razzle-dazzles your eyes. It's a little bit hypnotizing. I just thought it was so beautiful. I was like, at first I was like, can I be patient and just put this on my list? And then I started asking questions to Austin Jackson I live in the same town, and I was asking him, does he have anything planned, new models coming with abalone? And he didn't have anything planned coming up with his models, but I asked him, does he have any of his older models in abalone? And he had the hot brass jack. So I took a look at that. So this was kind of an impulse buy at this time yesterday. I wasn't planning on buying a new knife. I'd never seen abalone in person, but now I have a brand new hot brass jack with the abalone scales. So I'll do a quick knife review. So, where's the tape measure? We've got a clip point blade. We've got, looks like 2 3/4, about 2 3/4 inch blade, cutting surface up to till you get to the sharpening plunge line, the sharpening choil. It looks like 2.5, and then you got a 3.5 inch handle. If you watched my mega hits, I kind of harped on how the handle's the most important thing. You always want to have 4-finger grip. So here you see you get 4-finger grip, and this little notch here is to help This is a slip joint, so it helps you get a hold of the blade to pull it out because it's got a nice firm pull. But while I got it open, I'll talk about the handle. So one thing different about this one is you kind of notice right away there's kind of a forward hump, which is different. So I just had that Dundee a second ago. I can show you. Usually you've seen, like, it's pretty common to have a little scallop for your index finger to fall in. So this is almost reverse of that, where your third finger falls down. These are almost raised forward. And is that good? So it does feel unusual. You're not going to be used to that. But as I held it, I noticed, see how my fingers are even size? Not everyone's finger lengths are the same, but mine are pretty even. But when this finger falls down in the groove, and then with the little hump there, I noticed when I grabbed it, it kind of made a stair step. And see how my fingers kind of stair step down? And then the natural curve of my thumb as it goes over, it kind of locks right in. So when I saw how it did that, how locked in that was, I was thinking, did Austin plan that deliberately? And that's kind of genius. So although it feels unusual, I mean, it's not a hot spot, and it feels a little bit different to have a forward hump, but you get a firm grip. And then I tried it different ways. I noticed as I was fiddling around with it that it seemed like having this hump here with your middle finger, you had control to manipulate it left and right. If you're with your middle finger, that kind of makes it easy. And then I noticed when I did a finger forward, reach forward, and then my index finger falls right on that hump, and then the next finger is down that groove, that really locks in. And I'd say that's maybe the most comfortable locked in forward grip I've ever felt. So somehow that hump aids you, especially with the forward finger grip. You get a lot of control and you're locked in down there, forward and backwards. And then you also got the regular grip. You can come up with your thumb on the jimping, or I guess you come back with your index finger or forward. So what about the blade shapes? I had passed on this before because it was a clip point. If you saw some of my other videos, you would know that I'm kind of in a Wharncliffe phase, or that's kind of been for a while now my standard bias and preference is towards Wharncliffe. But this clip, they've got kind of a Western theme going on with this model. And if you saw Tri-State EDC, he did a review on this. I remember he put his finger over the B and the R. So I thought that was funny. You should go check out Tri-State EDC's channel. He's entertaining. He does good reviews. So we got the hot brass jack, and clip point is appropriate, just like a Bowie knife, Western. And then just for a little eye candy, I got out these are real Ruger Vaquero model 6-shot cowboy guns. Cowboy guns are different because they're single action. I've unloaded these already, but I'll show you real quick anyways. So let's see, can you see down the chamber? So a cowboy gun's different. It has this little gate. That's where you load and unload. So the brass doesn't shoot out like some modern guns. You have to unload each spent brass and then reload through the same little gate. So you can spin around. And you see we're unloaded, we're safe. So actually I had some of these practice rounds. You can practice dry firing. If you put some of these fake rounds that have a rubber primer, that gives the firing pin something to bounce off of. Dry firing can hurt guns, but if you put some of these types of bullets in there, now you can dry fire and you're not damaging your gun, because the firing pin shoots forward with a lot of force and it needs to hit something. So that dissipates the energy and it helps your firearm to last longer and not get damaged, worn out prematurely. So a cowboy gun, anyway, is single action, means every time you fire it, you have to pull back the hammer. And then you fire, I'm not going to let it go because there's not a thing in there. So you get 6 shots, and every time you fire, you have to pull the hammer back and then pull the trigger. So that's how a real cowboy gun works. And you can see on the artwork here, he's got a double pistol just like I got here. And then I had these cards out for some gangster videos. You can go see those. I did those earlier this week. And I was like, well, poker, that's a common thing in a saloon. So that's still Western theme. So I left the same hand of cards out for this Western theme impromptu quick review. So here we are with the Impulse Buy of Abalone, which is totally beautiful. You need to go check it out if you've never seen it in person. And then we already talked about the handle. You got 3 flutes here, 1 flute there. You have excellent smooth finish. You can look in the corners where the scales are. I always like to see 90 degrees. Good transition there. Here's the front. You can see the 90 degrees fits in there perfectly. And then he's got stainless steel bolsters. It's got a 154 cm blade, so it says hot brass jack on this side, and C. Risner 154 cm steel on the ricasso. Then we got a long pole and a clip point. So I'll show you the walk and talk. Nice firm walk and talk. You get a half stop. You get a nice spring pull. Got a little easy open notch with the long pull extended, so right where you pinch it, you can get some grip on that long pull, and the notch makes it easy to open. You got your half stop and your full walk and talk. Very nice. So I wasn't intending to, or trying to get all of the Austin Jackson designs over at the C. Risner in-house brand name, but this is actually my 4th one now. So I got it mainly because I had to get some abalone and I couldn't wait. But I've also got the Ohio River Jack, and this one's in jigged titanium. And we've got the Sugar Maple Jack with the crystallized titanium in purple. You can see how tall that stands out. These are also easy to open. He always makes sure that it's easy to open. Either the blade's tall out of there, you can get a full pinch on the long pole. Same thing with the Ohio River. That's prominent, and you can easily get a hold of that long pole and easy to open. And then he's also got some models. Here's my 3rd one, was the Indian head. There's a standalone review on this. Go check it out. This one's in red pearl acrylic, and you can see it's got that easy open notch, and you get a little bit of the long pull on your finger. That one's actually the easiest to open. I think the notch helps. And this one's not a C. Risner, but I just wanted to show that other people do. This is a Rosecraft Elk River easy open jack. This one doesn't even have a long pull. You don't need it. You just have so much of the blade you can pinch here that it's easy to open. There's a nice lamb's foot on that one. So I like when they design them where they're not too hard to pull open. And then here on your hot brass jack, which is what we're talking about today, we've got the easy open notch, and you can see the long pulls all the way over there. You can easily get a hold of it, and it's easy to open with great walk and talk. So here, while it's open, we got a sharpening choil, nice sharpening choil. And we looked at the back. Here's the heel, stainless steel bolsters, back spring, abalone. So I think there's still some other in stock. I think they have stag. I think there was ebony. So I started thinking this was a Western theme, and since I bought it impulsively and fast for the abalone, I was like, well, does that fit the Western theme? So I kind of thought, do they make gun scales out of abalone? I kind of knew they did, but I looked it up on the internet, so I'll show you a picture here. So here we go. Just search abalone gun scales, and you can see it's actually pretty common on a lot of 1911s, but I see a cowboy gun here. You can get abalone scales. So I'll just call that fancy scales for a cowboy gun. I'll call it like my fancy knife. I do have something else to show you. This is me in a Clint Eastwood cosplay. I'm into cosplay. I have about 15 or more very good costumes. So this one's Clint Eastwood. And it's only a couple seconds long, so let's play it once. But as you're watching it, look for a few things. I had to get 4 things work right. So this was unedited. Actually, if I did edit it, I should probably cut out some of this grass and make it more centered. But my wife just held up the camera and we gave the signal to start. So I throw up my poncho, Clint Eastwood style poncho. I've got the leather wrist thing from the movies. I got spurs. You'll see I got the blue denim shirt, just like he wore in one of the movies. And I've got a sheepskin vest under there, you'll see. And then to make a good video, I had to have the poncho stay up when I throw it over my shoulder. I had to have a good fast draw, and then in one motion I pull back on the hammer and pull the trigger, so you'll hear some clicks. You'll see how fast I did that. I think I did it pretty fast. Then I do a twirl with the gun and get it back in the holster without looking. So you'll see that I'm looking forward, and I do that all with a no look. So that's pretty cool. And so here we go. We'll just play it once. Listen for the clicks. So there you go. So there you can see the sheepskin vest like you had in the movie, and you can see the blue denim shirt. So that's me as Clint Eastwood. And if you want to watch that again, it's actually listed on the Skol EDC channel under shorts. It's actually my oldest short posted on there. So if you want to go see that again, just go, and you can listen for the clicks if you didn't hear it the first time. Now, to do a fast draw faster than that, and the guy that has the world record, he actually uses 2 hands. So he'll draw and he'll fan. He'll actually hit it really hard like a hammer. He'll draw and go and shoot. And then that's a faster way to shoot, is if you're doing it 2 hands and fanning the hammer. So in that little short video, I was doing it one-handed, and that's pretty good coordination. Drawing, pulling the hammer back, and pulling the trigger, all in one motion pretty fast. And when you hear those clicks, that's what's happening as I'm doing that. Then I did a pretty good twirl and got it back in the holster, all in one motion without looking. So I thought that was a pretty good little video. So what else do I need to talk about here? We talked about the dimensions already. I think we've already covered everything on the knife. You can see I have a nice little collection here. Abalone is beautiful. You need to get some abalone in your collection. It's usually found more on traditional pocket knives. But now that I'm into abalone, now I want to get more abalone. And maybe some of that red, if I find that red abalone somewhere. And then look at the different colors you get in there. I actually spotted all the colors of the rainbow. And it's just so much fun to look at. It's a feast for your eyes. It's a little bit hypnotizing. So I get some purple and green and blue. And I see yellow, orange. And I see red way over there. And then every single one is different. So this is naturally formed material. Is there any natural material that's more beautiful? And in person, it's just so much better, especially if you have good lighting. So anyway, this video is probably going kind of long, so I'll wrap it up. but I think it was worth it. That was some fun stuff to go through. And also I try to get a new, with slip joints, I like to put them in a leather slip. So I got a new color that I didn't have. And then I went with, this is kind of a purple plum and green, because there was a lot of green swirls and there was orange. So this is like multicolor and purple. So I went with that. So when I see the slip, and I'll show you how it fits down in there. When I see the slip, I know which knife it is that I'm grabbing. And the way I do slips, actually, let me show you something else real quick. When you get a new slip, you don't want the creases to go over your stamp. So it'll be nice and flush when you buy a brand new slip. Just stick your finger in there, work it in real slow. And once you get it all the way down in there, then kind of roll your finger out to the edge. And then roll the other way just to open it up. That's what you do with a brand new slip. So this is new from yesterday. And you can see you get the creases way over here next to the stitching. And you don't mess up your stamp. So also what I do, because it makes it easier to get out, it looks like the widest part of the knife is here. So I always put that towards the top. So just slide it in. Fits in real nice. And it keeps your knife nice, especially if you have like keys, so you're not scratching up your knife. And then when you want to get your pocket knife out, you just pull it out, and if you give it a little squeeze, it helps it fall out. And there you go. Beautiful abalone. I have covered everything. So let's wrap this up. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to go check out individual videos, I've got one on the Ohio Riverjack. I've already got a good one on the Indian out. There will be one coming on the sugar maple. I haven't done one on that yet. And then more videos, lots of videos to look at and shorts. Go check out that cowboy. It's called Fast and Flourish on my short list. Thanks for stopping by. And remember, always carry a knife.